Imagine I gave you two choices. The first, you become incredibly wealthy. You earn over $500 million and the whole world knows your name. The second, you win the FIFA World Cup, but you'll never make that kind of money. Which one would you choose? I think most people would choose the first one. But the man in today's story, if he had the chance to choose again, I'm not sure he would make the same decision. His name is Neymar. Most people know Neymar for his dazzling skills, his unbelievable dribbling, the kind of moves that seem impossible to copy. But very few people know that when he was just a child, his biggest dream wasn't to win the World Cup. It wasn't to become the best player in the world. He simply wanted one thing: to give his parents a better life. For children growing up in ordinary families, football isn't just a game. Sometimes it's the only chance to change their future. And Neymar was born with a gift that very few people will ever have. But here's the question: was that gift a blessing from destiny, or was it a price he would spend the rest of his life paying? Imagine an entire nation believing that you are the one who will carry their future. Would that make you feel excited or terrified? That was Neymar's life at just high teen years old. Every newspaper, every TV station, every headline kept repeating the same message: this boy will become the next Pele. But almost no one stopped to ask whether an 18-year-old kid was truly ready to carry the weight of an entire country. Because expectations are never free. At first they feel like a gift, but little by little they become a burden, until one day you forget why you fell in love with the game in the first place. Then came 2013, the year that changed everything. Neymar signed for Barcelona. For millions of footballers around the world, wearing that shirt is nothing more than a dream. But Neymar didn't just join Barcelona. He stood alongside two of the greatest players of his generation, Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. Together, they became known as MSN, one of the most feared and most beautiful attacking trios football has ever seen. They won trophies, they broke records, they entertained millions. It seemed like Neymar had finally reached the top of the world. If the story had ended there, this video would already have its perfect ending. But here's the twist. The moment that truly changed Neymar's life wasn't the day he joined Barcelona. It was the day he chose to leave. No one really knows why Neymar left Barcelona. Some believed it was about money, a record-breaking contract, a bigger paycheck. Others believed he simply wanted something no amount of money could be. He wanted to step out of Lionel Messi's shadow. He wanted the world to see him, not as Messi's teammates, but as Neymar. Maybe both were true, maybe neither was. Only Neymar knows the answer. But from the moment he walked away from Barcelona, everything changed. From that day on, the world stopped asking, how good is Neymar? Instead, everyone asked the same question: can he surpass Messi? And maybe that was the cruelest question any footballer could ever be asked. Because many legends were never defeated by their rivals. They were defeated by comparison. But greatness always comes with a price. For Neymar, that price was written into the way he played. Every time he danced past a defender, he invited another reckless challenge. Every piece of magic made him another target. To millions of fans, his football looked effortless, beautiful, joyful, almost playful. But to the defenders standing in front of him, it was something they had to stop, no matter the cost. Year after year, Neymar remained one of the most followed players in world football. The headlines only remembered one thing: another injury, another game missed, another season interrupted. Few people ever asked what caused those injuries in the first place. Because the more extraordinary his talent became, the more punishment his body had to endure. And little by little, the smile that once appeared every time the ball touched his feet, began to disappear. Then came the World Cup. Once again, an entire nation placed its hopes on one man. But football has never been a game that one person can win alone. When a team loses, people rarely remember all 11 players. They remember the biggest name, the brightest star, the face everyone expected to save the day. And when victory never came, the disappointment, the frustration, and the blame all found the same destination. Neymar. To many people, that was enough to call him a failure. But I've always wondered, can someone truly be called a failure simply because they couldn't carry the weight of an entire nation on their own? Or maybe some stories were never meant to have a perfect ending. So, let's go back to the question we started with. $500 million and the whole world knowing your name. Or a World Cup trophy. Most people chose the first one. And Neymar's life was the pull between those two choices. At 18, an entire nation called him the next Pelé. In Barcelona, he stood beside Messi and Suarez. The world saw MSN, the most beautiful firework football has ever known. Then he walked away. Not for more money, but to step out of Messi's shadow. He didn't want to be Messi's teammate. He wanted to be Neymar. But what waited for him on the other side was ankle after ankle, broken by reckless tackles, season after season, stolen by injuries. The smile that once appeared every time the ball touched his feet, slowly fading until it was gone. Some people call him a failure because he couldn't carry the World Cup back to Brazil all by himself. But I keep thinking, if one trophy is enough to define a man's entire life, then most lives on this planet mean nothing. Neymar doesn't need US to answer whether he was a success. All I know is this. When that 18-year-old boy stepped onto the pitch in Santos and flicked the ball over a defender's head for the very first time, in that moment, he wasn't thinking about Pelé. He wasn't thinking about $500 million. He wasn't thinking about the World Cup. He was just in love with the ball. All the money, all the trophies, all the controversy, all the pain, none of it can erase that moment. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Maybe success isn't about what you get. Maybe it's about whether, after everything, you can still stand on a football pitch and feel free like that boy in Santos. The drawing is finally finished. A pencil can capture a face, but it can never capture an entire life. Maybe Neymar never became the player everyone expected him to be, but perhaps that was never the most important part of his story. Because before the trophies, before the glory, before the expectations, he was simply a boy who loved football. And if this drawing helped you see him a little differently today, then every pencil stroke was worth it. Every drawing begins with a pencil, but the best drawings always end with a story. Sometimes I wonder how many people have quietly given up the thing they loved most, simply because life didn't go the way they hoped. Maybe that's why Neymar's story resonates with so many people, because sooner or later, all of us will have to face the same question. What do we do when our biggest dream doesn't come true? Do we stop loving it? Or do we keep going? Maybe that's the real game. Every time I draw someone, I realize I'm never just drawing a face, I'm drawing a lifetime. Every wrinkle, every scar, every smile tells a story. Maybe that's why I love drawing portraits.